Senate Antitrust Panel Chair raises concerns over Netflix Warner deal. This is a Wall Street Journal story. The chairman of the Senate's Antitrust Subcommittee is raising concerns over Netflix's proposed acquisition of the Warner Brothers movie and television studios and HBO Max streaming service. In a letter to Netflix and Warner Discovery leaders, Senate Mike Lee said the deal appears to likely raise serious antitrust issues, including the risk of substantially lessening competition in streaming markets. Lee's letter was sent to Netflix co-chair executive Ted Sarandos and Greg Peters and Warner Discovery chief executive David Zaslav. The senator said the deal raises concern with potential abuse of merger review process, particularly if an acquirer obtains competitively sensitive information under the guise of due diligence. Les chairs the Subcommittee of Antitrust, Competition Policy, and Consumer Rights under the Senate Jury Committee. So, Tom, when you're looking at this, they're saying Netflix's deal to acquire Warner Studios and streaming assets. Netflix has agreed to pay $27.75 a share in cash in a deal totaling $72 billion. Why is this becoming more complicated than it was supposed to be?
Well, because right now, Warner Brothers Discovery, the CEO, David, we call him Zaz, is about to say, the board and I have come to a final decision and we have signed. We are now in a merger agreement with Netflix. At that point, the Ellisons are going to elevate their legal fight and they're going to sue. And it's going to go, then they're going to take it all the way to the Federal Trade Commission and saying, we think this is unfair. We think it's going to lead to a lack of competition and choice for the American consumer. And at that point, the merger lies at the feet of the bureaucrats in the federal government. And so if you're on the Ellison side, you say, well, Larry called Don. Don, what's up, Larry? Listen, I think I'm getting screwed here. They'll take care of it in committee. We'll take a look at it. Yeah, how's the kid? He's doing great. Brought him into the business. Do people think that happened? People are saying that the Ellisons have dropped the dime on Trump, and Trump's got, one of the federal bureaus responsible for such things for looking into it. I think it's really simple. There's a lot of egos in Hollywood, and the offer price is so far up where the stock was trading that the board at Warner Brothers Discovery is getting tremendous value for their shareholders. And then also Warner Brothers Discovery is going to create a little tiny, absolutely crappy little stock where they're putting all of the cable things into this little stock, and CNN and all these cable channels are going to be trading on it. And I'd like to know where that stock goes and who they're going to sell it to. I think it's just going to sit on the market flat because where's the increase in cable subs? There isn't any. And they're going to do that. So Netflix buys the big library from Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers Discovery creates this, their shareholders get a bunch of money, and then they create this little company that they drop on the market to carry all the cable nets.
Well, I mean, if you look at the Kalshi right now, Kalshi's $1 million of volume in this says, what's the percentage, Rob? 62% Netflix, 23% Paramount, none before July of 2027, a year and a half from now, 18%. But it looks like, look how close it was. Go to right there. When is that? December 26th. Look at December 26th. Go a little bit ahead.
Yeah, that's when the Ellisons announced their hostile takeover.
Look at December 27th. Ellisons were ahead. And then next thing you know, the separation more and more and more and more and more. It looks like they want Netflix to take this deal over. I don't know what's going to happen here. Let me get to this last story with Disney and we'll wrap up. Disney's CEO succession drama is hurting the stock price. It's time to wrap the Disney CEO succession race and bring a happy ending to one executive castmate, because the drawn-out process being led by Morgan Stanley chair is weighing on its stock like a stretch of bad movies. We wouldn't expect the company to address leadership succession during upcoming earnings call, but do anticipate resolution of this matter over the very near term. JP Morgan analyst David Karnofsky wrote in a note on Tuesday, while the changes is not likely to result in major strategic shift, we do believe the uncertainty around the process has been an overhang to shares and see a catalyst and announcement and see visibility into a smooth transition process. Disney reports earning on February 2nd. Shares of the entertainment giant have been down 1% over the past year as uncertainty on who will replace legendary CEO Bob Iger has persisted. And a lot of people are asking this question, Tom, what's going to happen here? Do you feel like Bob Iger is just kind of holding the whole thing together and he's got to step out of the way? Because reports came today with Starbucks. Do you know what reports were today with Starbucks? With the new CEO, Brian Niccol? What were the numbers? What were the numbers that came in today?
Were great. He turned the corner and he announced profitability and growth.
Beautiful. That's what happens.
That's his job.
That's his job. And Bob is not doing that the last 5 years. It is time for him to step down and find somebody else. Some of the decisions they made with the board was embarrassing, was pathetic. And then as well as the good news is Kathleen Kennedy finally is done December 31st of 2025. She was the face of wokeness for Disney, where I don't know what the percentage was, but how many of the characters were part of the LGBTQ community and the cartoons that they were producing. They forgot who their customers were. Starbucks remembered who their customers were now with Brian Niccol as the CEO. Disney needs to go find somebody. Tom, your thoughts on this story?
Bob Iger is Barack Obama.
Wow. Bob Iger is Barack Obama.
And now the board is asking who wants to be Joe Biden and follow Barack Obama. And they're going to have a real tough time finding somebody that bridges streaming, getting people back into the theme parks and getting growth on the theme parks, growth under licensing, growth on all the cable nets, including ESPN, which has been laying people off and tightening up rather than expanding, and then growing the actual movie side of the business, which has had issues as the American consumer says, why do you keep putting these hidden cues in all my kids' movies? I'm not liking this. So who wants to be Joe Biden and follow Bob Iger with that playing field and go do it? I think the board's having a tough time of finding somebody that can navigate that.
Brad?
I'll volunteer. I'll do it.
Really?
As
What
long
would
as
you do?
nobody
Okay,
puts
but
their
what would
feet
you
on
do?
your
No,
desk.
but wait a minute. Play
Yes,
that out.
especially.
Play that out. What would you do? You're the CEO. What are you doing?
I would just go in there and use common sense. I mean, everything that I think happens at those companies is all agenda driven, period. Like, why are they putting that crap in the videos and the movies and the
Kids'
theme
movies.
parks? Right. And then when the conspiracy nuts go crazy with it, it hurts stock price and it stifles growth. So I would go in there and just get back to the old school, of entertainment, pure and easy. I'd risk all that money they have stocked up, and I would make some new products and some new characters. When's the last new character, like a smash character?
I don't know, but what I can tell you is it is a place that can have such a massive upside. Knowing Bob Iger, Tom, do you think, okay, let me ask you this. Do you think Bob Iger wants a Brian Niccol to come in and crush it at Disney and take it from $200 billion to $1 trillion valuation in the next 5 years?
In the celebrity battle of the egos, no.
Okay, perfect. So guess what? You think the board wants it? You hope they do. Do you think shareholder want it? Of course they do.
Absolutely.
Because
they
they're
want
in.
it.
So to me, I don't know. I think this is a place where a killer CEO that is in their 40s, late 30s, 40s, early 50s, that has a track record of having some success, who can go in and turn things around, I would be going like this if I'm them. Who are the existing 10 Brian Niccols in a marketplace? 10 Brian Niccols that have already proven success in a different company. I would want to say, hey, I would entertain this. I would entertain wanting to do something like this. I think there's a lot of opportunity and common sense upside. You know how Trump went in and all of a sudden he's like, he's doing tariffs. Why didn't I think of? People are saying, why didn't I think about this? He's going to go Greenland. How come the other president? He's going to go expand. How come he's going to go take the? How come the previous presidents didn't think about it? He's a businessman.
That's right.
And these other guys are not. So imagine if somebody goes into Disney. There's probably 5, 10, 15 basic things you could do to win the customers over. It's not that complicated to do. Yes, it's a small country. Yes, Disney was worth $388-ish billion 4 years ago or 5 years ago. Yes, they made the mistake with co-CEOs That never works when you have co-CEOs. Most of the time, it's catastrophic. Someone's got to be the decision maker. Yes, he got in the way of Chapek making it because Iger was pretty much running the company from a distance. But to me, I'd love to see somebody put their name in the hat and say, hey, consider me. I'll come in and do some stuff here. But I don't know if they're going to let a real driver CEO get the job.
I can't believe they're still talking about this
will.
because it was a year ago, you and I were sitting down. Remember that? We sat there for like 2 hours and you were articulating the strategic plan that you could put in place to turn Disney around, from the content side to the theme park side to the conversion of media to what do you do differently in cable? How do you navigate the podcast realm and what's happening on streaming? I remember that. We sat there for 2 hours. There's this full strategic lens. And then we said, do you think Disney's board has people strong enough to do it? Because they need to.
Listen, I actually put where my money where my mouth is. I am optimistic Disney long term. I think it's $1 trillion company. I think it is. I think it's a value-based company that I think has an upside to be $1 trillion. The amount of assets they own, somebody needs to come in that's a businessman to turn that thing around and make it $1 trillion company. Disney, with the right CEO, can be $1 trillion company within 5 years. Within 5 years.
Aren't birth rates in decline?
1.5
decline.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Disney's generally focused towards the children, the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I think whoever takes over needs to factor in that if birth rates are going down, there's less and less customers being generated. So you might want to shift your focus on
all the customers over there,
teenagers and some adults. Well, Disney, why can't they make more adult-like movies?
You know what they could also do? They could also make a new character a hero that is building a family. Because a lot of us, we became somebody we looked up to in a movie. Rocky, I want to grow up and be Rocky. I want to grow up and be Chris Gardner from Pursuit of Happiness, where, what's his name, played in it. I want to grow up to be whoever. Movies have a massive influence on a lot of people running for office. I just said Backdraft earlier of being a firefighter. That was a great movie we were with the NASCAR owners. The ladies like, I like Days of Thunder when Tom Cruise did it because it brought a lot of attention to us, but I wasn't a big fan of Talladega Nights because it made fun of our sport. Remember Talladega Nights with Dear Baby Jesus, when he starts doing his Ricky Bobby. Yeah. So movies have power, but the right movies, and they're not using that power that they have. Anyways, folks, once a year, we host an event called the Sales Leadership Summit. That event is coming up in the next 2 months. It'll be in South Florida at Trump Doral. And it's for those of you that run a business, because sales is king. Most people don't understand the power of developing sales leaders that develop sales people. This video will break down what's happening at SLS. And hopefully, those of you guys that are doing $1 million plus, you'll get a chance to get a ticket for yourself. Go ahead, Rob, play the clip.
So many years ago, I realized the size of your income, your net worth, your lifestyle is a pure reflection of the size of problems you solve. So for me, going back 20-some years ago, I was a good salesperson. I learned how to sell. I knew if I ran 3-4 appointments a day, I could sell 2, 4, 6, maybe 8 insurance policies on a given day. Then I asked myself, how do I sell 50 in a day? How do I sell 100 in a day? There's no way I can do it by myself. I had to solve a big problem and go from being a salesperson to being a sales leader. By the way, it is very different being a salesperson than being a sales leader. That's a massive problem to try to solve. What happened later on? I went from selling 2 to 3 policies a day personally to eventually we sold 1 million insurance policies with our company, and we sold that company for $250 million. 3 years ago, licensing 60,000 insurance agents. We solved a massive problem, got paid massively. Let me bring it back to you. In America today, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, we have 13.4 million salespeople in America that go out selling every day working for commission. We have 132,000 VP of sales, according to LinkedIn, and we have roughly 8,000 chief sales officers in America. Now, when it comes down to putting the hat on of being a sales leader, it's a very different accountability, tough conversations, challenging, transferring your knowledge on how to get referrals, how to follow up on leads, how to properly follow up where you don't offend the person, the script you use when you DM versus when you email, which is when you make a phone call, how to give better presentations, the types of phone calls to make, the types of contests to run, how to hold them accountable and drive them and not upset them and they still want to come. How do you steer competition? All of this are things companies that solve big problems that become multi-billion-dollar companies do. So once a year, I host a conference called a Sales Leadership Summit. This happens once a year. To attend this, you need to do a minimum of $1 million a year and have 5 salespeople that report to you. If you want to join us at this year's Sales Leadership Summit, that happens end of March, we'll go through a 200-page manual together on how to go through A through Z of being a great sales leader. Click on a link below, fill out the information. One of our representatives from David Consulting will reach out to you and tell you more about the Sales Leadership Summit.
Rob, what is the website to go to this? Do we have it in the link?
We do. It's in the description. It's also in pinned to the chat. But
can you click on a link just to see what it looks like so everybody sees it? So go, if that's you, click on a link. We'll spend 2 days together at Trump Doral, and we go through A through Z, and it's a great place to network with other performers that are also doing well. There you have it. So what's the website called, Rob?
sls.betdavidconsulting.com.
Beautiful. All right, fantastic. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.